On a sweltering summer evening on July 27, 2024, along Interstate 49 near Rogers, Arkansas, what began as a routine traffic stop escalated into a highly controversial incident, capturing the attention of both local and national media. The event started with a traffic stop initiated by an Arkansas State Police officer targeting a driver accused of violating traffic laws. However, what unfolded was far from a typical arrest, resulting in a shooting that caused injury and sparked debates about the use of force, immigration, and the handling of high-risk traffic situations. The driver stopped was Angel Zapet-Alvarado, a Guatemalan man living in Arkansas as an undocumented immigrant. The incident not only exposed the challenges law enforcement officers face in tense situations, but also highlighted complex social issues surrounding immigration, language barriers, and how law enforcement interacts with diverse communities. At approximately 7:43 p.m. on July 27, 2024, Trooper Alexandria Duncan, an Arkansas State Police officer, was patrolling southbound Interstate 49 near mile marker 83 close to Rogers, Arkansas. This stretch of highway is heavily trafficked, especially during peak evening hours, with local residents and tourists traveling through the area. While patrolling, Duncan observed a silver sedan traveling at an unusual speed, well above the posted limit. Using her radar, Duncan clocked the vehicle at 114 miles per hour, approximately 183 kilometers per h, far exceeding the 70 mile per hour speed limit on this section of the highway. This reckless driving not only violated traffic laws but also posed a significant danger to other vehicles on the road. Duncan immediately activated her lights and siren, signaling the vehicle to pull over. However, the driver, later identified as Angel Zapet-Alvarado, did not immediately comply. The vehicle continued for a short distance before slowly pulling onto the shoulder, heightening Duncan's alertness to the possibility that the driver might be uncooperative. After the vehicle came to a stop, Duncan approached and identified the driver as Angel Zapet-Alvarado, a 26-year-old resident of Springdale, Arkansas, approximately 20 miles south of Rogers. Zapet-Alvarado was an immigrant from Guatemala who had lived in the U.S. for several years without legal documentation. He worked in the construction industry, a common field for many immigrants in northwest Arkansas, where the Latino community has been growing steadily. Duncan requested Zapet-Alvarado's driver's license and vehicle registration, but he was unable to produce a valid license. During the initial interaction, Duncan observed signs of intoxication, a strong odor of alcohol on his breath, bloodshot eyes, and slurred speech. These indicators led Duncan to suspect that Zapet-Alvarado was driving under the influence, a serious violation under Arkansas law. Additionally, Zapet-Alvarado struggled to communicate in English as a native Spanish speaker. He appeared to have difficulty understanding Duncan's instructions, which heightened the tension in their exchange. Duncan, who was not fluent in Spanish, continued to demand that Zapet-Alvarado exit the vehicle for further assessment, but he remained seated, increasing Duncan's suspicion about his willingness to cooperate. When Zapet-Alvarado refused to exit the vehicle, Duncan decided to open the driver's side door to directly order him out. This decision has been debated, as some policing experts argue that immediately opening a vehicle door in such a situation can escalate tensions, particularly when an officer is acting alone. Duncan commanded Zapet-Alvarado to step out, but he still did not comply, prompting Duncan to use physical force in an attempt to remove him. During the struggle, Duncan managed to seize Zapet-Alvarado's car keys and toss them away from the vehicle, an action intended to prevent him from restarting the car and fleeing. However, Zapet-Alvarado began to resist more aggressively. He pushed Duncan away and, according to reports, kicked her in the head and face multiple times. This resistance prompted Duncan to deploy her taser to subdue him. She fired the taser, but Zapet-Alvarado grabbed the device and threw it onto the highway, eliminating a non-lethal tool Duncan could have used. As Duncan grappled with Zapet-Alvarado, a passerby, Kylie Sutton, a 31-year-old from Springdale, Arkansas, stopped her vehicle to assist. Sutton witnessed Duncan struggling and decided to intervene, an action viewed as courageous but also debated for its safety implications. Sutton ran onto the highway, retrieved the taser that Zapet-Alvarado had thrown, and handed it back to Duncan. She also attempted to help Duncan by restraining Zapet-Alvarado, despite lacking training to handle such situations. Sutton's presence complicated the situation, as Duncan now had to manage both Zapet-Alvarado and a civilian at the scene. Duncan instructed Sutton to step back for safety, but during this time, Zapet-Alvarado continued to resist, intensifying the pressure on Duncan. After retrieving the taser, Duncan attempted to use it again, but Zapet-Alvarado remained unsubdued. In a tense moment, Duncan drew her service pistol and fired a single shot at Zapet-Alvarado's right temple. The bullet grazed his head, causing a serious but non-penetrating head wound. Despite the severity of the injury, Zapet-Alvarado did not immediately lose consciousness and continued to resist until additional officers from the Rogers Police Department and the Benton County Sheriff's Office arrived to assist. The responding officers quickly restrained Zapet-Alvarado, handcuffed him, and called for emergency medical services. Zapet-Alvarado was transported to Mercy Hospital, Northwest Arkansas for treatment of his head wound and other injuries sustained during the altercation. Duncan was also taken to the hospital to receive treatment for minor injuries, including bruising and abrasions from Zapet-Alvarado's kicks. After receiving medical treatment, Zapet-Alvarado was questioned by investigators from the Arkansas State Police and the Benton County Sheriff's Office. Due to his head injury and intoxicated state, he initially could not provide a clear statement. However, in subsequent interviews with the assistance of a Spanish interpreter, Zapet-Alvarado made the following claims. He admitted to drinking alcohol before driving, but did not believe he was too impaired to drive safely. He did not fully understand Officer Duncan's commands due to the language barrier. He felt Duncan acted aggressively by opening his car door and attempting to pull him out. Zapet-Alvarado denied any intent to attack Duncan, stating he was only trying to defend himself when he was pulled from the vehicle and tasered. He did not clearly recall kicking Duncan in the head, but acknowledged resisting because he felt panicked and afraid. Zapet-Alvarado's statements were used by his attorney, Aaron Cash, to argue that his client did not pose a lethal threat and that Duncan had overreacted. Cash emphasized that Zapet-Alvarado was unarmed and had no intent to cause serious harm. In her official report and interviews with investigators, Duncan provided details about her actions. She stopped Zapet-Alvarado's vehicle due to his high speed and reckless driving, which she considered an immediate threat to public safety. She observed signs of intoxication in Zapet-Alvarado and requested he exit the vehicle for further assessment. But his refusal led her to suspect he might be concealing something dangerous. Duncan admitted that opening the car door was a quick decision, based on her experience that uncooperative drivers might flee or attack. She used the taser because Zapet-Alvarado resisted aggressively, but when he grabbed the taser and kicked her in the head, she felt her life was in danger. Duncan stated that the shot was fired in a split second when she believed Zapet-Alvarado would continue attacking and could cause more serious harm. Duncan emphasized that she attempted to use non-lethal methods before drawing her firearm and felt she had no other option in the situation. Kylie Sutton, the passerby who assisted Duncan, was also interviewed as a key witness. She stated, she stopped her vehicle when she saw Duncan struggling with Zapet-Alvarado and believed the officer needed help. She retrieved the taser from the highway and handed it back to Duncan while attempting to restrain Zapet-Alvarado to assist. Sutton did not directly witness the moment Duncan fired her gun, but heard the shot and saw Zapet-Alvarado injured shortly afterward. She described Zapet-Alvarado as very aggressive and said she feared for Duncan's safety. Sutton's testimony was used to support the argument that Duncan faced a dangerous situation, though some critics suggested her intervention may have complicated the scene. After receiving treatment at Mercy Hospital, Northwest Arkansas, Zapet-Alvarado was transferred to the Benton County Detention Center. Toxicology results revealed his blood alcohol content was 0.16, twice the legal limit in Arkansas, 0.08. and showed the presence of cannabinoids, indicating he had used marijuana before driving. Zapet-Alvarado was initially charged with multiple offenses, including second-degree assault related to kicking Duncan in the head, resisting arrest, reckless driving, speeding, failure to yield to an emergency vehicle, driving without a license, driving while intoxicated, DWI. On September 23, 2024, Zapet-Alvarado pleaded guilty to 2 lesser charges, driving while intoxicated and reckless driving. The more serious charges, including assault and resisting arrest, were dropped as part of a plea agreement. He was sentenced to 58 days in jail time served during pretrial detention, payment of fines and court costs totaling under $1,000, participation in a drug and alcohol safety education program. However, Zapet-Alvarado's legal consequences did not end there. As an undocumented immigrant, he was detained by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE) after completing his sentence. Zapet-Alvarado was transferred to an immigration detention facility in Louisiana, where he awaited a bond hearing on October 7, 2024. His attorney, Aaron Cash, argued that Zapet-Alvarado should be released, citing his marriage to a U.S. citizen and their 3-month-old U.S. citizen child. But ICE continued to pursue his potential deportation to Guatemala. Kylie Sutton was honored by the Arkansas State Police for her assistance to Duncan. She received public and local official praise, but also faced some criticism for intervening in a dangerous situation without training. Sutton was unharmed during the incident and faced no legal repercussions. The Angel Zapet-Alvarado case is a quintessential example of the complexities surrounding police-citizen confrontations in the context of modern society. It highlights the challenges law enforcement officers face in handling tense situations while also underscoring systemic issues such as language barriers, immigration biases, and police training. From a legal perspective, the case illustrates how prosecutors and law enforcement evaluate the use of force, often prioritizing the officer's perspective at the scene. However, it also raises questions about accountability and the need for more effective de-escalation tactics. From a societal viewpoint, the incident has deepened divisions and debates about immigration and law enforcement. While some see Zapet-Alvarado as a victim of circumstance, others view him as an example of the risks associated with illegal immigration and criminal behavior. This incident is not just a story about one night on the highway, but a window into broader issues in American society: immigration, law enforcement, and justice. As we reflect on what happened, it is clear that solutions to these challenges will require collaboration, empathy, and a commitment to improvement from all sides. That concludes today's case. Thank you for following along, and we hope you've enjoyed this engaging journey. If you liked it, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated on the latest cases in the days to come.